Hello and good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Forever United TV. I'm Adam. You are live now with us with your Manchester United update this evening. 16th of June, transfer window back open, and nothing really happened today, did it? We had a lot of talk and a lot of fluff and a lot of nothing. I'm guessing it's going to bubble up and it's going to get more exciting throughout the week because the day one of the reopening wasn't really that great for anybody, was it? But we do have significant news regarding Manchester United. Their chase for Hugo Ekitike as well. Interesting updates around Jadon Sancho and Marcus Rashford I want to talk to you about as well, particularly with the Barcelona link on that one. I'm going to talk about that to bring up. But the Ekitike situation is where I'm starting tonight, and I want to get your opinions on this. So if you are live, please do get into the live chat. What are Manchester United waiting for? I've put it there in a title because, yeah, it is a slight opinion piece on this, but why are United waiting? We got a significant update from Romano, and finally Romano does actually talk about Bryan Mbeumo. It's been a while for Fabrizio. We've all been waiting for a bit of an update from you just to settle a few nerves around this Man United fan base. So thank you, Fabrizio, for finally piping up on what's happening with Mbeumo. We'll get through that also in the show tonight. But we're starting with Ekitike again. It is the talk of the town at the moment because of the striker race for Manchester United. Everybody's been asking me. I've had loads of private messages. People saying, where are we going? What is happening? What's gonna go down? The situation, and I'll explain later on in the show regarding Manchester United outgoings, is so that it is a case of United's ultimate priority is these three players up front. We know this. We've talked about it forever and a day now. But it's a little bit of a scenario right now, a little bit of a situation developing because of Victor Gyökeres. And I said this morning that's not gone away. And Man United won't be going away from this, according to Romano. Now, I don't know if that's a worry for me or if that's a pleasant surprise. At the moment, I'd rather United just stick to their guns. And there is a sort of hint of this happening with Man United now, all of a sudden, in terms of making decisions and sticking to them, like making early decisions and going with it, assessing the situation and where we're actually at, gauging where everything is, particularly with the outgoing players, and going all in. By the way, I did a video earlier on about the dual ownership of Antony and the situation with Betis' bid. If you haven't watched that, go watch it after the video, after this show. I mean, I may touch on it if we've got time later on. But obviously you're all dying to get in your seats and comfy with your beers and whatever and your popcorn to watch that Chelsea game tonight against LA. No, me neither. But yeah, moving past that and the real interesting stuff that everybody does want to talk about. Manchester United, Hugo Ekitike. Now, every single club that is chasing Hugo Ekitike or has inquired about Hugo has been informed, apparently, according to Graham Bailey, been informed that his price is not 85 million. We did say that this was going to come about. There's no way that they can claim to want 85 million for Hugo Ekitike. There's no way that is viable for any football club who is bidding for it. Like, let's be real. Let's be honest here, and let's be completely real with where the situation is in the market right now. Everybody knows the European market is strangled by financial fair play. Everybody knows that financial fair play is worked out through installments and packaging players up and everything like that. And I think teams just bump up that price at the start just to bring it down and still get the right amount that they need to cover what they want to do. And I think that's what Frankfurt have done. The proof is there in Frankfurt in historical transfers anyway. They did it with Mamouche. They went high. He was over 70 million. He ended up going for somewhere around 50 to 60. So you know that it's going to move down. But yes, we have all been informed apparently of Hugo Ekitike's price not actually being the initial 85 million that has been quoted from everybody who's been talking about this. So when you look at the current situation and you look at what's happening right now, Manchester United obviously involved, a few other clubs obviously inquiring as well about Ekitike. I just get the feeling that they're all just waiting to see what Frankfurt come back with. And I think the bids will go in. But I think Manchester United are actually waiting it out to see what happens with Victor Gyökeres. I really do think that he is holding all of the cards at the moment and is, I feel, the one that is holding Manchester United back. I think him and his position and where he is and what he said with Arsenal, I think is just making Manchester United think twice about going all in on Hugo Ekitike. I don't agree with that. I think if you've made your mind up, you go in, you get it done. You go for a striker that you are all in for. You don't hold off on another one because somebody else. You're basically doing what Gyökeres is doing right now to You're doing what Gyökeres is doing to United, to Hugo Ekitike. You either want the player or you don't want the player. Gyökeres has said no to Manchester United unless Arsenal don't come in for him. That's a big red flag for me straight away, and United should just make the decision and go in for Hugo Ekitike. I feel that if they want him anyway. And I asked the question earlier on to everyone. You had your chance to answer that one. I'm not going to go on about it again. It was basically, would you still take Gyökeres even though you know what he's done? That I think is a big question for a lot of Manchester United fans right now. But the situation now, Sky came out earlier on. Dameshev spoke about regarding the situation with Hugo Ekitike. Now, Damesh would have been talking off the back of Florian Plettenberg. The link there, obviously, Sky Germany, Sky Sports. Plettenberg works for Sky Germany. Dameshev, obviously, Sky Sports in England. And he would have just been going off what Florian Plettenberg said. So whatever Damesh has said is just echoing what Plettenberg has said, which is that Manchester United have made contact with Frankfurt and are the only club to have made contact with Frankfurt regarding Ekitike. They're the ones that have made more of a move than anybody else right now. And they've spoken to the player's agent. Ekitike is willing to come to United. We know all of that. Fabrizio Romano, on the other hand, has said that hasn't happened. But Fabrizio Romano has two layers. He has and you'll see this in his videos right now. He started to do this a lot if you watch him. He has got the negotiations and he's got the talks. They are different. And he is hedging and he is I was going to say something then. It doesn't sound right. Let's just say he's got splinters. And you know what I mean by that. Negotiations and talks on negotiations are, we're in. And that basically is club to club. And this is his terminology. Talks are just contacting to find out the circumstances and conditions to the deal. That is where Manchester United are at. There is no concrete talks between United and Frankfurt yet. United are holding off, and that's the worry I've got, and that's why I brought Gyökeres in, because I do feel like there is some form of situation still developing behind the scenes here, and I don't want it to be. I'd rather us be ruthless and go all in on what we want to do. We've made our mind up. We're in. That's it, done. Never looking back. Don't ever go back in every situation in life, to be honest. But I think that this right now, with what Sky have said and Plettenberg, obviously Plettenberg has got good contacts in Germany, so you'd expect him to be talking an element of the truth there and what's actually going on. But also on this as well, you're looking at, I feel, in reality, I think Manchester United have probably found out, and we're about 2 days behind. And the stories are coming out now from the reporters, from all of the journalists, talking about where everybody is with Ekitike. That's why this news has come out today, that Manchester United and other clubs have been told that it's not 85 million. They are willing to go lower. I said before, I think Manchester United's valuation of Ekitike will be in around that 60 to 70 million mark. It'll be very, very similar to what we're looking at for Brian Mbeumo and Matheus Cunha. And that is the 60 mark because of his age and the potential. That's why United would go down that road and only go down that road. If we're willing to spend this amount of money on Victor Gyökeres, we're going to be more than willing to spend it on Ekitike, and that is purely down to something that obviously is worked in with Manchester United's structure. The big push from United is not from Ruben Amorim, it's from the recruitment team. And so you're Jason Wilcox, Omar Baradas and Christopher Vivels. Now, in a row, we have heard a lot about these characters this week from Manchester United. In the Omar Barada has set out the basis and has made it clear to everyone in the recruitment team and everyone that we're dealing with or negotiating with that there is a level to Manchester United spending that we are not going to go over. We have valuations on every single player and we are going to go to a certain point and then that is it. We are cutting it off. So Barada has made his point clear and the recruitment team are working with this. And you've got Jason Wilcox, who is obviously working his wonders right now with getting the likes of Cunha through the door, and he's probably working overtime to get Mbeumo done right now, along with bringing the younger talents in that we've spoken about as well over the last few weeks and younger players in. That's him. The Christopher Vivel link with Ekitike is big and could be crucial for Manchester United. That, I feel, is probably the winning formula for United in this one, if we do go all in. And he knows, the sporting director at Frankfurt, the connections between him and his time. Romano talked about this as well, working at Hoffenheim, working at RB Leipzig. Romano was also talking about this and saying that Manchester United do have a definite advantage in having Christopher Vivell on board with this so-called deal. Let me just see what we've got coming in here. Just in, Hugo Ekitike will be allowed to leave Eintracht Frankfurt for less than their €100 million price tag. Ekitike's development seems quite similar to Isaac's. That's another one that's just been put out there again. Someone backing up what was said earlier on. And when you look at the price of Ekitike and the club he's at, I know, I understand that puts a lot of people off, but again, just try to just look past the price, and it won't be that price. It will be a lot less than that if United do go in for Hugo. So when you look at that price that's been set there, that is just to make everybody clear that Frankfurt are not messing around. I think that's clear. I think that is clear. And when you're talking about dealing with German clubs, there is a very, very similar pattern to them. And you've seen it with Jadon Sancho, in fact, at Borussia Dortmund. You've seen it with other deals with players leaving, like Jude Bellingham. They make sure that they get their worth out of that player. And if they go early in their contracts, they do get good money for them players. If they go to the end of their contracts, there is always a deal at the end. But if you want to take a player from a German club and you want to take him early out of his contract, then you are going to have to pay a bit of a premium to get him. They know what they're doing. The beauty for Manchester United, like I've said before, is Ekitike's wages are very, very cheap at the moment. 56 grand a week, converted from euros to pounds, if we're working in Man United terms anyway. That, I think, United feel like they can work with. And the price coming down anyway pretty much confirms that this is a more than affordable option for Manchester United right now. And this is something I want to put to the chat actually right now. How much would you pay for Ekitike? I'm sure you've all done your research now. The name has been thrown around quite a bit. What would you pay for Hugo Ekitike right now? What's your price? Tell me, everybody. Get into the chat and let me know. I'm going to bring up a few super chats first of all. Let's see what we've got in here right now. A few to get through, bear with me. Jamie, welcome to the Members Club, mate. Absolutely buzzing with that. Thank you, my friend. Anybody who is a new member, Tom has just donated one as well. Thank you, Tom, you legend. Raws in with a super says, club has scouted Ekitike for years. A price might be eye-watering initially, but hopefully the relationships between Vivell and Frankfurt can get United a decent price both clubs can live with. Yeah. Exactly what I said and exactly what I think is going to happen, Ross, mate. I totally agree with what you said there. And you are right. I mentioned this the other day. The scouting and the knowledge and what this player is from Manchester United in their scouting networks and what they've already got in terms of... what's the word I'm looking for there? Anyway, you know what I mean anyway. They know a lot about him. Let's just say that. They are comfortable with the player that they're buying. So this is a fully scouted player that Ruben wasn't even looking at. And now this is a structure decision. And this is something that I think we will be judging a lot more of in the future. And this isn't a player that's just going to fit into Ruben's system. This is a player that's going to fit in several. And that versatility factor that Manchester United are going with this summer and how they're working their transfers, I think this is absolutely crucial right now for the football club. Absolutely crucial that they get these transfers right, and these players have got what it takes to be, first of all, a Man United player and handle what it is being a United player, but also be able to work in several different systems. In terms of the recruitment from before, like we've said earlier on, in just talking about Anthony and that other video I did, it proved that Manchester United may have to take losses on some of these transfers because they were so bad. And not to put anything down on the player or drag him through the mud, but this is how bad the transfers were. As a package, they were horrendous for Manchester United. Absolutely horrendous. So that, I think, is something we have to live with when it comes to what's happening this summer as well. And fans won't be happy with it. But again, this is why Manchester United are negotiating so deeply and finding out every single and going through every single minor detail with all of these players. So again, I haven't got a problem with Ekitike coming in. I think we will get the right price. And I do think he will slot in nicely with Mbeumo and Matheus Cunha. I think that will be a deadly front three. I really do. 20 times better than what we've got right now. But still, do come into the chat and tell me how much you would pay for him. Let's get through these supers first of all. Neil says, fine wage structure for Osimhen, which suits. The thing is, he's not dropping, mate. He's not taking a drop in his wages, and that's what we're up against, pal, at the moment. Sudhan, thank you for your super chat, mate. Ekitike is another unproven young striker. Xerxes or Højlund would have had similar stats in the Bundesliga. How is it an upgrade? Well, they didn't play in the Bundesliga. The Bundesliga, I think, is a tougher league than Serie A. I think it's a tougher league than the Portugal league as well. And I think you are looking at a player there that has had a couple of good seasons and not just one like Xerxes and Rasmus Højlund had. Yes, he burst onto the scene this season, and Frankfurt's actually committed to him. But let's be clear here as well. This is a player that is already miles ahead of where Gyökeres was at this stage in his career as well. Playing at a higher level, doing better at a higher level, and we want Gyökeres. I mean, it's all right, and I don't mind people going in on this Ekitike deal here, but you are going to have to come back with another striker that you think might do the job at a reasonable price, because let's be honest, we're not going to pay Osimhen 350 grand a week in wages, are we? That's not going to happen. Thanks for the super chat though, buddy. I appreciate that, mate. Ross says, nice kit. Where did you get it? In terms of where I got this kit, the link is in the description, everybody. Please do jump onto that there if you want to get this shirt. That is there. That's where I got mine from. Some of the mods will drop it into the chat as well right now. Let's get some more comments. I've got a poll running right now. Who will be United's number 9 next season? Gyökeres, Ekitike, Osimhen, someone else. Everybody is still going heavy on Victor Gyökeres. 33% of you feel that Victor Gyökeres is still going to be Man United's number 1 striker next season. All right. I said it before, though. I do feel like something is bubbling behind the scenes with Gyökeres, which is holding things up, which is pretty much behind my title that I said that I do believe that United are just holding off. They know where they are. They know that they've got a great chance with Ekitike. But I do somehow feel like there is a... I feel like there is a definite bid coming in for Manchester United. I still cannot figure out if it's right or not. I don't know. I don't know is what I'm saying. I'm not sure. By the way, everybody, as you can see there in the top right-hand corner, we are 70 subscribers away from 85,000. What an absolute effort that has been from everybody. I'm not expecting to get there while we're live in the show, but you might as well give it a go and see if you can get them subscribers up as close as we can to 85 before the end of this live show, everybody. Go on, you might as well have a bit of fun. Give the video a like while you're at it. It's already 250 in the bag. Love that. Graham in the chat says, Victor Osimhen and Manchester United are poles apart in terms of what both want. They're oil and water. I've been told categorically that Osimhen is a million miles away from Manchester United. And I think the story only came up after the Gyökeres situation that came about the other day. And that, I feel, again, is why United are looking at Ekitike. He is ahead of Osimhen, but I think Gyökeres is ahead of both. And United, I don't know if they would have liked the news to come out about Gyökeres, pretty much like he wasn't. United will obviously have to deal with them questions of a player coming in who didn't want them first of all. They'll have to take the stick. The fans will have to take the banter from Arsenal. But at the end of the day, is that enough to turn Manchester United away from going for him if Arsenal don't indeed buy Victor Gyökeres? I don't know. I don't know. If he wants Champions League football, surely there is another offer on the table. Apparently, by the way, Juventus have offered him £212,000, so €212,000 a week wages over in Italy. So that's the offer that is flying in from the Italian side at the moment for Gyökeres. Leo in the chat, I have given you one already. Vlahovic, looking forward to battling with you on a big up. Leo, I don't think Vlahovic is going to be anywhere near Manchester United. I really don't. Tap up Mateta, get him to hand in a transfer request and put a 30 million bid in for him. His contract ends in June 2026. He is in negotiations though, Tap, for a contract extension. So I don't know if that is doable. Obviously, I'm not going to say no to Mateta. He's 27. He's in the prime of his career. That is prime time, isn't it? But I'm not 100% certain that Manchester United feel like they can get him for the right price. I'm really not. But let's see. Let's see how far down the list Mateta is. He's behind a lot, isn't he? And that says a lot. And what does he think about that? If United really wanted him, where would he feel right now looking in on this? No one ever thinks about the player's side of things in these situations. It's like you've seen Delap, you've seen Gyökeres go. They don't want Osimhen even though they've spoken to him. We might not get Ekitike yet. And then we're going down to maybe Jonathan David. We'll talk about him. I don't know. But where is Mateta? Like, he's on the list. But if you're Mateta right now and you know you're about 5th choice for Manchester United, would you still go there? I don't know. I don't know is all I'm going to say with that one. And I think it's important that we remember the players' side of things as well when it comes to these transfers. They're not all smooth sailing. They're not. So let's just see what happens with that. I'm going to move on to the next section in a minute. Very warm today, by the way, everybody. Check out my off-brand Stanley Nitro. 20 times better name in it than a Stanley. God, for some reason, I can't help but think back to Football Factories and the word Stanley. If you watch the film, you know exactly what I mean. But yeah, we'll go with Nitro, off-brand Stanley, keeping it cool, people. Yes. Angry Ginger's a defender, by the way, mate. We can't bring him in up front. But yeah, Tevez gave him a right old run around, didn't he? God, seen that scratch on his leg as well. That was a nasty tackle, that, wasn't it? Big time. Anyway, moving forward. Let's just get some more. Keeping up to date with everything that's going on. Right. So obviously, as we're live, we'll bring you all the news as it comes out. If anything does drop while we're live, then I'll bring it up. There's an interesting one here from Marco Alcaraz, which has just come up. Man United are cautiously assessing Hugo Ekitike, wary of his inexperience and hefty price tag. While discussions are ongoing with Frankfurt and players' camp, some at the club remain hesitant, prioritising an out-and-out goal scorer. Again, what does that tell you? It tells you everything that I said right at the top of the show. That Victor Gyökeres situation and Romano is going to come up trumps on this one. I'm convinced of it. Honestly, I don't know where he'll be if Gyökeres comes back on the scene, but just seeing tweets like that from Alcaraz just make you think, don't they, that there is something going on. And that was just my mind thinking. And that came out after we'd started the show as well. But it just goes to show that other people are also looking at that situation and thinking it, aren't they? So, again, cautious optimism with a lot of deals, Manchester United. But caution is another word that's been used by the hierarchy and this recruitment team from the get-go, in that they are not going to rush into deals. They're not going to overpay, and they're going to make sure that they don't make the same mistakes that was made before in previous transfer windows. And that tweet there, an assessment, whether you think it's real or not, is absolutely bang on the money. I'll just read it out one more time. Manchester United are cautiously assessing Hugo Ekitike, wary of his inexperience and hefty price tag. While discussions are ongoing with Frankfurt and the players' camp, some at the club remain hesitant, prioritising an out-and-out goal scorer. Now, 22 goals was clearly not enough. We need 50 plus. There's only one man, and his name is going to keep on popping up until he makes that move to Arsenal. Whether or not Juventus will be able to get him, I do not know. Would you go Juventus? I know they got Champions League football, but would you go Juventus over United? That's the question, isn't it? Arsenal need to hurry the bleeding hell up and make their mind up about Sesko or Gyökeres, so we can put Gyökeres to bed and we can move forward, hopefully with Ekitike or Gyökeres. One of the two, please. We need to have peace of mind right now. Romano has been talking about Brian Mbeumo and is basically saying everything that everybody wanted to hear, that an agreement A verbal agreement is in place. They already know that Bryan Mbeumo wants to come to Manchester United. The whole him going anywhere else situation and stories have been completely put to bed now. So that is something that all Manchester United fans don't need to worry about anymore. Bryan Mbeumo will be a Man United player. The club are confident that this deal is going to get done, but they're in no rush. They're not going to be taken for a ride by anybody. They don't want to pay what Brentford want for Bryan Mbeumo on top. They know their valuation and they're sticking to it. And United are confident that they will get the Bryan Mbeumo deal done. And I think he's confident that he's going to end up at Manchester United. I think that really does start to come across in all of these reports now. And the fact that nobody is in, nobody at all is in for him now, tells you that Manchester United have just got that free ride all the way into getting this deal completed. And I do believe still, I'm holding out that this week is going to be massive and we will get a significant update on Bryan Mbeumo. But Romano coming out and saying what he has done, what he has said, I think convinces everybody again. He is just reiterating the people that we're talking with sense, that Bryan Mbeumo has already told United he's signing for them. He's agreed his personal terms. And we're just waiting for United and Brentford just to thrash out them numbers and get over the line with that bleeding 1 or 2 million, whatever it is. Just get the deal done, lads, so everybody can sleep easy in knowing that we just need to put one more piece into that forward line after the signings of Mbeumo and Cunha to get that perfect trio up front and transform Manchester United's forward line. Joe in the chat says, if Gyökeres said he'd choose Arsenal before West Ham, no one would even blink. We are no better than West Ham, 15th in the league. United is no longer God's gift to football. Laying out some facts there, Joe, in what he sees anyway. Gyökeres is a bloody good player, says Andrew. I don't care if he preferred Arsenal. It's not sloppy seconds unless they were that other club. I know what you mean by that. And I know which other club you mean as well. The player needs to express to Brentford his feelings. I think he already has, Jonathan. I think he already has. I think Mbeumo has made it very, very clear that he is a Manchester United player. Very clear. In terms of our poll, Gyökeres is still winning. But Ekitike is making a move on the inside, people. He's coming up the inside here right now into the second half of this race, and Ekitike is only 4% behind your preferred number 9, or not so much preferred, but who you actually think will join Manchester United. It's getting close. 32% to 28 is leading the way. Osimhen and somebody else way back down the line. I think Osimhen is just drifting away now into the distance. I really do. Into the other news and what's going on. I did promise you something regarding Manchester United's outgoings as well. Now, believe it or not, actually, Marcus Rashford has got 3 Premier League clubs chasing him. And we know that he has turned down other Premier League clubs. Fabrizio Romano has said as much. But Newcastle have jumped in on the Marcus Rashford situation and would look to take him. And now, I think he fits in at Newcastle. I do. That quick break, I think, ideally, yeah. I think Marcus Rashford there. I don't know what he would do if he would play him on the left. That's obviously Gordon's position. I don't know if they switch it around a little bit, but apparently Newcastle are in for Marcus Rashford. Rashford's made it clear he doesn't want to go to London. So Spurs also chasing, and Aston Villa also still holding out a little bit of hope that he would go back to them. Unai Emery would take him back in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat, he would be back at Villa Park. So, yeah, I feel like this one is going to play out throughout the summer. And until Marcus Rashford gets word from Barcelona that he isn't going, then it isn't going to be a quick fix for Man United, sadly. But, like, Barcelona's club credits has been raised from stable to positive. Now that they're moving back to the new camp, their financial situation is becoming a little bit easier. And that was the rumour, so not the rumour, that was the story coming out from Spain today as well, that Barcelona's financial situation, having won La Liga and obviously the Cup treble as well, and how far they went in the Champions League, back in the new camp, the finances that is going to bring and everything going forward now for Barcelona is looking a lot more positive. And their club credit score has been raised from stable to positive. So maybe a little bit more spending power than we first thought for Barcelona going into this window. So let's just see how that develops with Marcus Rashford. Like we said earlier on, he is in Marbella at the moment in his own personal training camp, one with a training. I did make a joke about him in Spain waiting for Barcelona's call in hope that they would get a deal done while he's over there training. But look, it's all tongue-in-cheek and just a bit of a joke regarding that. But again, until Barcelona make their mind up, it's another situation that United are going to have to wait out. And it's a pain in the ass. It really is. Another story on Jadon Sancho, again, just proof, another report coming out from a different source saying he is not going to take a cut on his wages. He is standing firm on his wages. And it does look like Manchester United are going to once again have to subsidise them wages to get him out on loan, just to get him out of the football club. Painful how the situation is developing with them two players. They have dragged Manchester United through some crap, haven't they, them two? My God. But also an interesting one from the club shop. You cannot actually get from Manchester United Megastore a printed Malacia, Marcus Rashford or Jadon Sancho shirt. So that kind of shows you where the club is at with these players and what they think these players' futures are. It's not at Man United, clearly. 3 players there, along with Garnacho, that need to be gone from Manchester United one way or another this season. Now, earlier on, I was talking about the Antony situation. All the detail is on that video earlier on that I did. But just to summarise the situation and where Real Betis are at, I think Manchester United, through their mismanagement and cock-ups in the past, may have to take the punishment. They may have to lick their own wounds here, I think, Manchester United, because they might have to take a hit. They're unable at the moment, as it stands, to find anybody to buy Rashford, anybody to take Jadon Sancho, and they've priced Garnacho out of the market, it would seem, right now, because nobody's going to pay 70 million. They are going to have to think long and hard about the situation they're in right now, Manchester United. And Antony is another player, not as much of a pain as the other players I've just spoken about there for other reasons, but Antony's quality is the situation we've got with him, pretty much like Rasmus Højlund again. But Real Betis have come to Manchester United with a dual ownership package where they would pay Manchester United 20 million and then give Manchester United 50% ownership of the player when he is sold on, i.e., it's just a posh phrase and a posh deal to a sell-on clause. 50% sell-on clause for Antony outright. So any transfer fee for 50 million. It's what they've done before, Real Betis, with other players that they've brought in. It is quite common in Spain that the smaller clubs do pay a smaller fee, but then if them players are developed and become better players and are sold on, then the club that sold that player originally to them would receive half of the fee for that player leaving. It's just a posh way of calling out a sell-on clause. That is it. That's what they want. And there is even a chance that they want to do an obligation to make that payment and loan him this season. So not even give us anything this summer, loan him again, and then pay that 20 million next summer. So, yeah, you can see why Man United might have a problem with that because they need money to invest into our squad right now. Manchester United apparently are looking at that and are wanting a bigger fee up front from Real Betis before they would even consider it. So that was the report I brought out earlier on. All of the detail on that is there as well in that other earlier video we did today. Thank you, everybody, for all of the likes. Over 400 on the show. Absolutely smashing it again, everyone. Pop a like on the video if you're loving the content. And obviously, we'll try and get that up to over 500 before we finish the live. By the way, we are 53 subscribers away now from that magical 85,000. How close can we get to that before the end of the show? That is up to you, everybody. And now we're coming into the comment section to get your thoughts. And he said, stick with Højlund, give him a season with Mbeumo and Cunha. He loves United. This is what we're looking for. United have set him up to fail so far. He's crap, mate. He's crap. His touch is horrendous. I'm sorry, I cannot live through another season watching that man as Man United's #1 striker. Look, if it turns out that he's United's #2 and someone else comes in and we haven't sold Rasmus, fair enough. Not got a problem with that situation. I understand it. He's 2 years into his contract. United can't get enough money for him. Maybe he can develop as a number 2 striker with a better man in front of him, but not as a number 1. Definitely not as a number 1. I cannot have that man looking like he is going to be Man United's number 1 next season. Definitely not. Let's get some more comments in. Chances of Anthony being sold on for good money is slim, though not worth it. Again, King D, over a point I made earlier on, Manchester United's Anthony is, yeah, he's probably worth it if he played this way in the Premier League to another Premier League club, because Premier League clubs are the only ones that have got the money to pay for Anthony. La Liga, Serie A, Ligue 1, Bundesliga, all of these leagues don't have the money that the Premier League has, and therefore don't have the financial clout to package up a deal to buy Anthony for what Manchester United want, which is approximately 35 to 40 million. We're at half of that just for Betis. And if Betis hit Manchester United's obligation mark, and this isn't even United, so Betis's obligation, check this out, which we're all laughing at the moment, is more than their club record for a transfer. And that's to own half of a player. This is how desperate they are and how much of the barrel they're scraping to try and get Anthony to Real Betis next season. It's painful to watch, but it's a reality of Manchester United's poor management over the years. I've said this in the video earlier on. I said Manchester United might have to take a hit on some of these players if they want to move them out this summer. And they're going to have to be clever with them. If United feel like Anthony going next year with an obligation and still having 50% sell on, in time United might get their money back, but not straight away. You cannot expect someone to fail that bad and then get what you need back for him just to cover yourselves and the poor recruitment that you were doing that year in bringing Anthony in. Let's not forget, we overpaid for every single player apart from Malacia and Ericsson that first summer, Manchester United. It was a disaster of a window in terms of what we did into price-wise for these players. Not so much the players. Some of them have turned out good for Manchester United. Like Ericsson wasn't a bad buy. Casemiro's turned out all right in the end as well. And Martinez obviously as well, not too bad. But we just overpaid for all of them. And this is now why we are struggling to sell Anthony for anything. And it's horrible. It's horrible to watch. Because Anthony is worth 40 million to somebody. But in La Liga and in these other divisions, like what Leverkusen have said, they can't afford Garnacho. Their valuation of Garnacho is 38 million. There was a story going around earlier on that Garnacho, Manchester United have turned down a 50 million bid for Garnacho from Aston Villa. I actually don't think that is true. I don't think it is true, so don't read anything into that one. I've not seen anything significant or reputable that says that Garnacho is, or Manchester United have even turned down a bid for Garnacho from Aston Villa. I just don't think that is real. Super chat from Raw says, what are the risks of loaning Anthony out again, having Betis cover the same amount of weekly wage, knock off another year's PSR on him, then sell him next year? He should perform well again in Spain. The problem with that is that Manchester United are paying another instalment for a player that they cannot use, when really they could be bringing someone else in who might be on the same package and actually doing something for United. This is the point I was making with Douglas Luiz the other day. Now, Douglas Luiz is a lot cheaper than Anthony. You could probably get Douglas Luiz in and Anthony gone for a cheap price and still be paying similar to what you would be paying for Anthony right now in instalments. Yes, it's more because we haven't got the right value for Anthony, but still, you are paying the same price you are now, but you have got a player that is actually being used by United. That is I think, the lowest that Manchester United can go. And selling, and Anthony, if he goes on loan again, I get it. Like, if we are happy to pay another instalment for him, it just means that we cannot use anything from this loan to help Ruben Amorim finance another deal for a player that we need. And all that does is it's another player that's gone on loan with no money coming in, and it's one less player coming into a position that we need this season. And all of a sudden, the 5 players that we need, or 6 players that we should be coming in this summer, goes down to 3 or 4 players. And that is the ultimate when it comes to it. That is the ultimate. But honestly, with it, I can see Manchester United desperately struggling now this window to move on. All 5 of them play. In fact, no, Malacia is probably going to be an easy one. Take the 5 million or whatever it is, get him off the books, gone. Thank you. That'll be easy for Manchester United to sort out. I think we paid 13 million for Malacia. That's a no problem one. Bayindir will be the same. We'll make the money back on him, no problem. Probably turn a profit on that. But let's not forget, Malacia, who's been in United 3 years now, if you bought him for 30 million, United are comfortably making a bit of PSR profit on him, I feel. It'd be interesting to see what fee Man United do get for him. It'd be similar to what we got for Donny van der Beek, I think, won't it, in the end? But again, just disaster after disaster in terms of transfers and what Manchester United are having to do to try and get by. It is embarrassing. It really is. If Barca has the money, they will go for Nico over Rashford, Ghana, and Rashford is fighting for the same positions to whichever club needs them. This is why I brought up the situation with Newcastle, Villa, and Spurs for Marcus Rashford. And Rashford is going to have egg on his face. Because if the story going around today about Nico Williams and that now being the sole priority, and Nico Williams also making it his priority to move to Barcelona, that takes out Luis Diaz from Liverpool and Marcus Rashford from Manchester United, because Barcelona will not be able to finance Nico Williams and Marcus Rashford and Luis Diaz from Liverpool. That is impossible for them to do. So, no, we have got a problem. And Rashford's going to have to do a little bit of thinking. He really is. Will United take a hit on Marcus Rashford is a question. I look at it and say, right now, Villa are willing to pay 40 million. Is there another Premier League club willing to pay 40 million for Marcus Rashford? I think there is. I think everybody sees the pedigree of Marcus Rashford and the good of Marcus Rashford from yesteryear in the Premier League. They've seen him do it. And that's the difference between him and Antony and Sancho. Sancho has never done it in the Premier League. Rashford at least has a bit of history. Yeah, you can talk about the absolute nightmare last year and a half that he's had. But you've always got that history of Rashford in the past. And all of his heroics for Manchester United and England that someone will pay money for a 27-year-old in thinking that they can get the best out of him. Eddie Howe will get loads out of Marcus Rashford. I think him and Unai Emery are the perfect managers for him. Not Ruben, no. He has made it very, very clear that he is not a Manchester United player and never will be. And I think the club have backed him on that one as well. The club have actually said, I just said a moment ago, I've not got the Marcus Rashford, Sancho or Malacia shirts in their shop, in the mega store at the moment. So that, I think, could be significant. They will go, but if I'm a betting man right now, I'm just going to say it. I think Rashford goes on loan. I think Sancho goes on loan. I think both of them end up walking next summer to another football club. Sancho will be gone anyway. Manchester United will be looking at this and going, right, okay, can we get enough together to get them forwards in up front? They're the main 3 targets. We can sell Malacia, we can sell Bayindir, we can at least get another goalkeeper in to challenge Andre Onana. This is worst case scenario right now, and we should be able to get a deal for Garnacho. They have to be able to get a deal for Garnacho. He is now the absolute linchpin to Manchester United's whole transfer window. He has to go, and he has to go for money. Let's check our poll, by the way. Who will be United's number 9 next season? Gyökeres, Ekitike, Osimhen, or somebody else? And Gyökeres has just pulled away. There was a bit of a fight from Ekitike there on the home straight, but he has fallen away, and the afterburners have been put on. Gyökeres is going to win it. He's at 32% of the vote right now. We're just creeping up to 2,000 votes on that one, everybody, which is absolutely amazing. A great effort from you all again. Thank you, everyone, for all of your votes on that one. But again, just to go over the main news, which we were talking about at the top of the show, Hugo Ekitike's price isn't going to be 100 million. Now, there have been several reports also coming out that Manchester United are approaching this deal with caution. They're interested, and there is tentative talks as to the conditions of the deal with Frankfurt. Like said by Romano, like said by Alcaraz, like said by quite a few journalists now. But at Manchester United, there is also that unconvinced factor that he isn't a prolific goal scorer that they want, which is why Gyökeres is on our list still. Because at Manchester United, I do believe that even if he has said Arsenal first, Gyökeres is still a target. That I feel, again. And you know what? Gyökeres could always come out and say that all of them reports were false. Whether you believe him or not, that's something entirely up to you. But he could come out and say that all of them reports about him saying that Arsenal was his preference are all complete and utter false. He has already come out and said on social media that there's a lot being spoken about at the moment, a lot that's not true. I will come out and speak when the time is right. So let's see what happens with that. Please, 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 Sporting, Gyökeres, let's get to the bottom of this saga so everybody can move on. And we can start looking at who the real targets are for every single club. But I said it a moment ago as well. Arsenal will play a big factor in this. When they make their mind up, I think everybody else is going to follow suit. They are key in this as well, particularly with that Sesko situation that is developing. All right, everybody, that is us all wrapped up and done. Thank you so much for your participation again in the show. By the way, quickly, before we do go, I almost forgot, actually. If you are watching that Chelsea game tonight, we do have a match bingo special on the cards as well, everybody. So if you wanted to add a little bit of entertainment to your game in Chelsea in the Club World Cup at 8 o'clock tonight, if you are watching it, then get on to Match Bingo, click the link in the description or scan the QR code on your screen right there. We have a special going right now. It's £2 a card. If you buy 4 cards, you will get a 5th card free. If you deposit £5 as a new customer now using that link in the live chat, then you will get an extra £10 also put onto your account. It's £2 a card, dead easy. Match up 15 match events. If you get 5 in a line in a row, you win 25 quid. If you get another line, it's another 25. You could get a bonus if you get all 15, up to £200 tonight. So instead of looking at this game as a competition or a tournament that doesn't really count, at least add a little bit of excitement to it. Plenty of us here on Match Bingo have already had big wins on certain games. So why don't you spice up your game tonight with Chelsea by getting your Match Bingo card now. £2 a ticket. That is it, everybody. You don't need to do anything else. The game will take care of the rest. And let's see if you are one of them lucky ones. It's like playing bingo while watching football with different things happening on the pitch anyway. Thanks again, Match Bingo, for being our matchday sponsors. That is a game that they are running tonight. So if you are clinging on to whatever football is out there because pre-season is destroying your head and you need your football fix, get onto the Chelsea game, get onto Match Bingo, add a little bit of excitement into it as well, and obviously, hopefully you do win. You have to be a UK resident and over 18. Please gamble aware. It is only £2 a card. But if you do buy 5, if you buy 4, you will get an extra 1 free, everybody. You are missing out if you haven't already tried it. Loads of us here, I've been playing it throughout the rest of this season, and I've had plenty of wins. So make sure that you do get involved on that. And again, Match Bingo Legends, thank you very much. And that is our show, everyone. TK, welcome to the Members Club. Right at the end. Absolutely love that. The link for Match Bingo, by the way, is in the live chat there now. Get on that, please, everybody. Let's end that poll as well. Over 2,000 votes. Victor Gyökeres takes it. We have 46 subscribers away from 85,000, everybody. Please do show your support for the channel and drop a big like on the video and hit that subscribe button on the way out. Hit the bell notifications so you're notified whenever the content is up. Because when it's up, there is news and you will want to know it if you're a United fan. Get involved, everybody. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the like button on the way out. And I'll see you all first thing in the morning. 8 o'clock. Be there, everybody. In fact, we might be a bit earlier. I will confirm tomorrow morning, no, so you're all aware. But that's it for now.